He sat by the fire, which he had built in a small ravine hidden among the dark, perpetually shadowed hills of the zone. His old, tattered jacket had long since failed to keep out the cold, and the wind, like icy blades, cut through its holes, chilling him to the bone. The gray, almost black sky pressed down so low that it seemed as if it would touch the tops of the ancient pines. In this silence, filled with an undefined threat, every sound, even the faint crackling of the fire, echoed like thunder, tearing through the dense gloom. He hated the rain. Those icy, heavy drops falling from the sky, like the burdens of the zone itself, forced him to seek shelter in the ruined, damp buildings, remnants of former research complexes. Where moisture seeped through cracks and peeling walls, he often spent time waiting for the storm to pass. Sometimes his path led to abandoned villages, where dilapidated wooden houses, like forgotten ghosts, stood lost in the maze of the past. In these places, full of quiet and eerie stillness, he found temporary refuge, enjoying the solitude, broken only by the occasional rustle or screech of unknown creatures that inhabited the zone. Shivering, he reached for a pile of old planks left from a long-rotted crate and threw one onto the fire. The flames shot up, illuminating his worn face and surrounding the darkness with dancing shadows. These shadows awakened vague images in his mind, like ghosts of memories erased by time. The crackling of wood, a sound he remembered, but now it came from another fire, one that was enclosed within white stone walls. Before his eyes, something cold, stone-like appeared, like a stove behind an iron door in which a living, warm flame burned. Warmth. It was so cozy, kind, not scorching but warming the soul. He reached out to it and saw them, thin, slender fingers with short nails, light skin. They did not resemble the rough, weathered hands he saw every day. These were a child's hands. He was just a boy when he knew such fires and such warmth. Vitya. A voice sounded, distant, melodic, and kind, unlike the rough, hoarse voices he heard in the zone. This voice was full of care, as if it belonged to a mother, tired but gentle. He turned his head toward the sound and saw a room, wooden walls, a table, a few chairs, a door from which the coolness of a summer morning flowed, carrying the scent of wet earth by the river. "Yes, Mom," he answered, and his voice was clear, childlike, so far from what it was now. These visions disappeared as suddenly as they had appeared, leaving him once again surrounded by the dark forest. The veil of memories lifted, and he felt the cold breath of the zone on his face again. The fire had nearly died out, leaving only glowing embers, and nearby, on the edge of the firelight, sat a small creature, thin, scruffy, with a long tail and large ears. It looked pathetic and weak, not frightening at all. There was a glimmer of curiosity and hunger in its eyes. He frowned, wanting to mentally drive the creature away, but it only crawled closer, squeaking softly. His gaze slid to the old backpack lying on the ground. This backpack, full of holes that had once been stitched with wire, was his constant companion. He opened it, found a half-empty pack of crackers, and threw a few pieces to the creature. It crunched happily, and at that moment he realized it wouldn't be enough. Rising heavily, he poured the rest of the crackers onto the ground next to the creature and, pausing for a moment, looked at the darkening sky. Night was approaching, and with it, danger. He knew he needed to find shelter before the darkness fully consumed the zone. Casting one last glance at the dying fire, he slung the old backpack over his shoulder, pulled his jacket tighter, and slowly, wearily began to walk down the ravine toward the dark silhouettes of stone structures, over which huge, humming antennas loomed, like sentinels watching his every move.